Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about dream spaces. I'm always interested in this whole dream space thing associated with framing meaningful questions and getting meaningful responses. And I'm going to talk a little bit about finding something useful, or at least finding multiple bits of information which I find very curious. Part of my migraine medication is actually a moderate antidepressant. I'm not taking this medication because I'm depressed. I'm taking this medication because it's supposed to relieve some of the migraine symptoms, but it has incidental side effects. It's not the side effects like feeling like, my hands and feet are throbbing because I've slapped something very hard. It's not that kind of side effect, but it changes you. Antidepressants are just, in general, will have subtle effects. And the antidepressants that I took maybe 13, 14 years ago created a strange kind of normalcy, a strange kind of regulation. I slept like a normal human being. I had like a bunch of regularity in things in my life that just normally doesn't exist. I don't need to go into details. I think that probably illustrates something. And these experiences were very strange to me. I only took the antidepressants, for 3 weeks. Not a very long period of time. But just for that 3 weeks to behave as a normal human would, and also to have some of my edges basically taken off, some of my additional worrying. It taught me not to be so cognitive associated with others, that basically I can't cognitively control, manipulate, that's not the wrong terminology, that I can't create resolutions in other people, that I just need to be comfortable with the fact that I can create resolutions in myself, and I can try to explain to other people how to get to resolutions. But when you're dealing with people that are actively or passively hostile, you just got to create coping strategies. You can't play through scenarios in your head that resolve these circumstances. Periodically, through various times in my life, I have been able to resolve these things, but not with a degree of accuracy that would get me coming back to these kind of circumstances. And in this light, the question that I posed to my dream state was, I have a relatively, and this in part comes through Noble 8, this in part comes through my own narrative, but I have a relatively naive narrative associated with sexuality. And in particular, because I don't like using the term repressed memory, I thought that I had a bunch of forgotten memories. But, a good portion of my time, particularly my time in Australia, is no longer with me actively, like really quite fundamentally. And this is actually very curious when I interact with other people, particularly, people that remember their high school and their grade school experiences. A lot of that for me isn't there. I don't remember people's names. I don't care about it fundamentally. And what interests me through this is that I've lost a lot of kind of primary stuff that, talking to other people, they seem to maintain. And I have a not necessarily romantic narrative, but I have a somewhat, well-defined narrative associated with traveling around Europe at age 3.5 to 4 in a stroller, looking at classical art works, a lot of nudity, a lot of female nudity, and these kind of things associated with the impact that it had on my, own particular perspective, own particular tastes, let's put it that way. And it's a very romantic narrative, and it fits in very well with a lot of people, and explains a few things in my life. But actually, what I wanted to do through this dream state was frame more associated with, like, this is a romantic story, but it doesn't really map to a lot of things in my life. And I'm interested in particular associated with things that can be programmed in Noble Ape. I'm self-experimenting, fundamentally. But I posed myself a series of questions associated with my own perspective on sexuality and whether it can map down to very definitive things. And through this dream space, I actually had a series of quite curious dreams, which I can't even really describe in any meaningful sense. They relate to early childhood. They relate to, experiences of going to Adelaide and things like that. And really in this framing, I'm well aware that, false memories and things can be injected. It's all very possible here in some kind of folk psychology sense. So I was interested in particular points of fact, which I always try to take back from lucid dreaming in particular, that I can Google it or reference it or work something out in the context of my own perspective. And really here also get insights into my past that I don't fully, they're not in the forefront of my mind in any given way. And mysteriously, I got 2 bits of information back from this very curious set of dream sequences, which resolved in actual Googleable information and actual things that really stunned me because they brought back memories that were clearly, I mean, I'm going to use the term repressed. They were forgotten about, they were disassociated with, but it was really a very curious process that I'm going to talk about in a future Short Funk recording. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.